All right, her boyfriend eventually wants kids, but she's on the fence because of her dog. Cassie has the email.
Hey, Bert Show crew. Like many, I listen every day through the podcast, and I always value your advice and different perspectives.
Thanks.
Since a few of you have dogs and consider them to be a part of the family like I do, I thought you may understand my dilemma and have some advice. I have a 4-year-old mix who I adopted when I was 22. She has been with me through a lot, and we have a strong bond. She has one big flaw, though. She hates, all caps, hates children. I knew they were a trigger for her based on her growls and barks when she sees one, but the worst happened when she bit our family friend's child.
Ooh, that's not good.
Thankfully, we interfered before it got too bad. However, we know now what she is capable of. Ever since, I am highly alert when we go out on walks. I muzzle her when needed, and for the most part, we don't have many kids over to the house. When we do, she's locked up in the bedroom. Here's where I need some advice. I've been with my boyfriend for about 3 years. I see a future with him, but one fart. Excuse me.
It's okay.
It's all right. It's Monday.
One part of the future scares me a lot. Kids. I have always been iffy about if I've wanted kids, but that's been exacerbated due to my dog's dislike for them. I know some people may not understand it, but the thought of having to give her up if I decided to have children makes me incredibly upset and not want to have them at all. My family insists that she may outgrow her issue, but I don't think I can have her in a house with children. It wouldn't be right for her or the kids.
And that's irresponsible people to say she'll outgrow the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, if anything, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. That gets more ingrained.
That's dangerous to say that. My significant other and I have talked about kids here and there, but he's more of a we'll cross that bridge when we get there kind of person. If I'm even slightly on the fence about having kids and I know he wants to have them, should I just end the relationship now? That breaks my heart too because I love him so much. For more context, I'm about to turn 27 and my boyfriend will be 29 in May. Help! Thank you, Anonymous.
All right, so Mo, if you are him in this situation, how would you want her to proceed?
We would have to just sit down and have a real talk about this. I think she should be open, she should be honest, and she should be genuine in her approach. I don't think there's anything wrong with her take, but he should know, obviously. And if that's a decision that he's still willing to cross the bridge when they get there about, then so be it. But if it's a decision that he feels strongly that he may have to look into going in a different direction due to the fact that he 100% does want to, then that's something that he has to do. But I think either way, you at least let him know and put the ball in his court. And so if he wants to move forward, knowing that may happen in the future, he can do that.
All right, you're my friend, and this is the advice I would give, and you have to break this down into parts. First, you have to take the dog completely out of the equation and figure out, do I or do I not want kids? You're 27. You're young. You still have a lot of time ahead of you. But whether we want to admit it or not, women are on a timeline when it comes to having kids. We always hate using that word timeline, but it's like biologically speaking, that is just, we are on a timeline.
Bless you.
Thank you. So you have to take that into consideration. So, and I was on the fence for a really long time, okay? And so this is obviously coming from a very personal place. My husband and I, maybe not, we were never adamantly against it, but we were never 100% for it until we got to a certain point, and it was like, yes, I want to have kids. And that happened to a good friend of mine. She and her husband got married. They did not want kids. And then a couple years later, that biological clock, which is a real thing, her body shifted and she needed to have kids. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened to me. But at that point, I was in my mid-30s, and I wish I would have frozen my eggs. So that's the first thing. Take the dog completely out of the equation. And if you are on the fence and you want to, kick this can down the road, which I totally respect and understand because more and more people are having kids later in life. I would consider, or just do the research, go into like an internet deep dive about potentially, freezing your eggs, or even going the next step and freezing embryos with your boyfriend, however serious you guys are. So there's that. Now you bring the dog into the equation. I think it's unfair to say that she'll outgrow her issue. I do think you need to, if you're being proactive, you need to get her into training. And there are people who can like, Jenny, who is our dog whisperer over at I Speak Canine, find somebody like that to address the issue. And then that is something that you can deal with down the line. I think that's you can work on things and try to make it better. But then until you get to the point where you're really considering, like, are we going to pop out a baby tomorrow? That's when you address the dog issue.
Yeah, we are on a clock, but you have time, like Kristen said. I love the freezing the eggs thing. I had my second kid at 37. I don't want to say this because you love your dog, but most mixed breeds will live 14 years. So you got another 10 years and you'll be 37. Like, it works in the wheelhouse for a later kid. But here's the thing. I kind of get the vibe you're hiding behind the dog a little bit. I think you don't want kids from what you've said, which is absolutely fine. And I think it's something that needs to be normalized. It's okay to not want to have kids. It's okay to be on the fence and leaning towards not having them. Like Kristen said, take the dog out of it. I think you have to decide what you want to do. I don't think it's a relationship deal breaker unless your boyfriend says it is and he wants kids in the next couple of years. But I agree with you. You love your dog. Your dog is part of your family. It is unfair of you to give up your dog for a hypothetical child that you are not even sure that you want. So
Exactly.
if I were in your shoes, I would put my dog in training like Kristen suggested. I would keep my dog. I would have a long, hard think about what I wanted, and then I'd have a conversation with my boyfriend.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched, you can get more of The Bert Show on your favorite podcast platform. Wherever you listen to your podcast, you can find us. I don't know what any of these buttons do, by the way.